Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Assembly Judiciary. Welcome to those of you who were able to physically make it into Carson City, and those of you in Las Vegas or watching online. Of course, you can watch online through Zoom or through, you can watch online through YouTube or through Nellis. With that, Committee Secretary, will you please take the roll?
Assembly members Cole. Here. Dahlia. Here. Gonzalez. Here. Gray. Hanson. Here. Hardy. LaRue Hatch. Here. Marzola. Present. Moore. Here. Nadeem. Present. Orentlicker. Roth. Here. Urick. Chair Miller.
Here, good morning. And with that, members were instructed to report to Las Vegas if they were not able to make it to Carson City. So, well, we have one assembly member walking in, so please mark him present. And other members, so any member living in Las Vegas was told to report to the Las Vegas building if they couldn't make it up to Carson City. As we know, we just had a plane land recently. So any members that arrive in Las Vegas, please mark them present as well. With that, just a few reminders that please turn off your electronics. We also are struggling for Wi-Fi in the building right now, so please be advised you may see us on our phones, looking like we're on our phones more often, but it's just we're trying to communicate with one another. So make sure you turn down your volume. We will have public comment today at the end of this meeting. We have one bill that we will hear today. We ask that presenters keep their comments to 15 minutes, and anyone testifying today either on a bill or making public comment, keep their comments to 2 minutes. We also ask that people, of course, first say their name, introduce themselves, but also spell their name the first time they speak so that we have it correct for the record. Today, you can find on the agenda that our meeting ID number for those choosing to call in is 822-2315-0042. And with that, I would also like to thank everyone with their patience so that you know that our delayed start and call of the chair was because we did have a plane that landed this morning. That was, of course, that flight was delayed, and we wanted to make sure that members could get here safely. So with that, we will go ahead and open up the hearing for our bill today, Assembly Bill 137. It revises requirements for the advertising of a sale of personal property to satisfy the lien of an owner for a facility of storage. And with that, Assembly member, if you'd like to come up and introduce any co-presenters you have, and whenever you are ready, please proceed.
Thank you, Chair Miller and members of the esteemed Judiciary Committee. I am Assemblymember Selena Torres Fawcett, for the record. I represent Assembly District 3 in the heart of Las Vegas, Nevada, and I'm introducing AB 137 with my colleague Assemblymember Hanson because we share a commitment to legislation that not only modernizes outdated requirements in Nevada law, but also reduces costly processes for small businesses and consumers alike. Currently, Nevada law mandates that self-storage operators advertise lien sales in local newspapers of general circulation, a costly and ineffective requirement given the decline in newspaper readership. I cannot remember the last time that I read a physical newspaper, although we do read them usually online. This bill would allow storage operators to advertise upcoming lien sales on publicly accessible websites, ensuring greater visibility to interested bidders while reducing expenses for business owners and consumers. All the consumer protections in this section of law remain intact, and I support preserving their place in law. 32 states and the District of Columbia either permit a form of advertising like what it is contained in AB 137 or have no advertising requirement at all. Notably, Nevada neighbors, Colorado and Utah, have already moved toward this common sense reform, and Arizona and Washington State do not require any form of advertising in advance of a sale. By providing an alternative to newspaper ads, we empower local businesses with greater flexibility while aligning our laws with modern business practices and lowering the burden on the consumer. This change supports Nevada's small business community, encourages greater competition in lien sales, and ensures that storage operators can recover their spaces more efficiently. Chair Miller, our original BDR was joint requested by Assemblymember Hansen and myself. The joint co-sponsor was inadvertently left out when the bill was pre-filed, so I'm excited to have Assemblymember Hansen with me to co-present this bill, and I will be putting an amendment to add her as a co-sponsor as well. So go ahead and go to Assemblymember Hansen.
Thank you, Chair Miller and Vice Chair Marzullo and fellow Assembly Committee members of the Judiciary. Alexis Hansen, Assembly District 32. I also want to thank my friend and colleague, Assemblymember Torres Fawcett, for the opportunity to co-sponsor and to co-present AB 137, which seeks to update and fix an antiquated quirk in Nevada law that was called to our attention by constituents and business owners and interested parties. I was surprised to learn that to advertise a sale of contents in an unpaid self-storage unit, it had to be advertised twice in a newspaper of general circulation. We all know historical sources of news have declining circulation and increasing costs. In many parts of rural Nevada, it is hard to find a print newspaper of general circulation that meets Nevada's statutory definition. For small businesses and constituents in my district, this measure not only reduces costs, where the cost to advertise in a newspaper is almost the cost of the rent in question, and sometimes more than that for that unit. But also, this measure provides increased convenience for all parties. I'm proud to present this common sense bipartisan solution to this committee. I would like to turn the time back to David Goldwater of Pinyon Pine Public Affairs, who will go through the bill and introduce our subject matter experts who will explain any technical issues and answer your questions. Again, thank you for your time.
Good morning, Madam Chair. David Goldwater with Pinyon Public Affairs, today representing the Self-Storage Association. Let me pull this up, and that's good enough for I'm at work. I've got a few slides today, and I have some subject matter experts with me. First, let me say Happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody here and those who celebrate, and all my friends. And I'd also like to thank Assemblywoman Torres Fawcett and Assemblywoman Hansen for their enthusiastic sponsorship of what is common sense legislation. I'll tell you first what's on Nellis. We have some letters of support, and we also have an annotated description of the law, and behind that is a common sense, is a flow chart of what happens when a storage unit goes unpaid. I think that's very helpful, especially if you're interested in the law. You move through the presentation. I'm going to tell you a little bit about self-storage and what the problem is here that we're trying to solve, and then what the bill does. Yes, ma'am. Let me just say the most feared words in the entire Nevada legislature. This is a simple bill, easy bill. In Nevada, self-storage refers to commercial facilities offering individuals rentable units for storage of personal business items for temporary or long-term use with varying sizes and features like climate control and security. What we're asking for is a small change in NRS to change the advertising requirement for a storage unit that hasn't paid their rent. In your Nellis, there's a detailed legislative history of the section of law we are trying to amend. The provisions regarding the mandatory publication in a newspaper, oops, I'm already to my next slide. The provision regarding mandatory publication in a newspaper of general circulation, which is a defined term, specific defined term, originated in 1983. Strangely, my friend Todd's father participated in that bill that was sponsored by then Senator Raggio. And I'm told, although I wasn't around, there wasn't an internet in 1983. Then publication in a newspaper meant advertising in a place where most interested parties might go to look. Today, it means something totally different. At best, it means someplace a few interested parties might go to look for something if they were so inclined. At worst, it's a subsidy for an industry, unfortunately, a beloved industry that's in decline. Assembly Bill 137 moves Nevada law from 1983 to 2025. Today, we do have the internet. And this little table here kind of tells you what the current method is for selling versus what we're proposing. And you'll see this a couple times during this presentation. It helps me to understand the context of where Nevada is relative to other states, and that is far, far behind. Only 10 states still require 2 publications in printed materials, and those states are all, the trend is to get rid of these, not to keep them. Most states allow for alternative publications. 5 require none at all, as referenced by Assemblywoman Facette, or Torres Facette. This is a little graph of the states that still, of where each state is, so you get a little flavor for where our friends are. And then I just want to conclude and summarize here. What we're really asking for is today, when you have to advertise in a newspaper twice exactly the same, sometimes it has an error is made and the entire process needs to start over. We're asking to be able to still keep that process in place, keep all the consumer protections that exist in the lien law, remain in place. The only change here is that we allow the option for somebody to publish on a site that's relevant, on a website, even if that so happens to be the newspaper site or another site. That is what we're asking for. I'm going to turn the presentation, if I don't have any questions, over to Mr. Todd Ware here, and he's a local operator who's going to go through his view.
Good morning, Chair Miller and Vice Chair Marzola and the members of the committee. My name is Todd Weir, W-H-E-A-R. I am a second-generation self-storage operator and owner. My father started Storall self-storage in Gardnerville in 1971, well before there was a lien law in place in this great state, and I am very honored to be on the forefront of trying to modernize this law. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today. As I said before, I live in Gardnerville and am the owner and operator of Storall LLC. We have 5 self-storage facilities in Nevada in the communities of Elko, Winnemucca, Dayton, and Gardnerville. I am also the current president of the Nevada Self-Storage Association. I ask for your support today in Assembly Bill 137, a bill meant to modernize the self-storage lien process in Nevada. I want to address the costs associated with these advertisements relative to the debt owed and the amount collected. These advertisements are a very significant cost to Nevada owners without any clear benefit to the delinquent consumer. There is a chart in the back of, there it is up there right now, for you all to look at that we put together for the last couple years to give you an idea of what I'm talking about here. For example, if you look at DSA, which is the first line there, that's our acronym for our Dayton facility. You can see that out of 3 auctions, there were a total of 11 units. And our cost on top of this, what was owed to us, was $654.16, and a majority of that money is spent on the advertising in the newspaper. And that was on top of the $12,704 that was owed to us already. Unfortunately, we never recoup what is owed to us. And in 2024 alone, our company lost nearly $62,000 because of tenant defaults and the costs associated with lien sales. In 2023, we lost over $73,000. These losses are significant. They're a significant burden for a business like ours. Despite the fictional depictions on certain television shows, these lien sales are not moneymakers. In fact, they're just the opposite. And newspaper advertising just compounds our loss. Further, not only do newspaper advertisements not help the consumer, but they also add an additional financial burden to them because of the costs of advertising. That is technically the contractual obligation of the former tenant. So that carries along with them, unfortunately. Alternatively, online advertisements permit Nevada self-storage owners to effectively and efficiently advertise the sale. These advertisements can be done free of charge, a benefit both to the storage owner and the consumer, as neither are incurring additional newspaper fees. Recognizing the change in the advertising landscape, 32 states, as mentioned before, and the District of Columbia no longer require self-storage owners to advertise in the newspaper before a sale. And this includes Colorado and Washington State, which was recently mentioned. Assembly Bill 137 seeks to bring the act in line with the modernization efforts of the majority of other states, and I respectfully request your support for the bill. Thank you again for permitting me to testify today. I would be happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.
We'll save the questions for the end.
Hi, good morning, Chair Miller, Chair Marzola, and members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today. My name is Kim Siclari. That's S-I-C-L-A-R-I. I am General Counsel for a company called Devon Self-Storage. We operate about 180 facilities in 30 different states, including
can I-
Nevada.
I hate to break it to the both of you, but you two are not testifying. You're actually co-presenting the bill. So you're presenting the bill, just so you know. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Just so you feel that elevated sense of
Okay.
where you are in the possibility of this legislation passing. You're actually presenters. So, okay, thank you so much.
I'm happy to present this bill. I'm excited. I'm a resident of Nevada, Reno, Nevada, for about 10 years, and this is my first time at the Capitol, so I'm a little bit nervous as well. I have testified on similar issues in the state of California, and I can echo David's sentiments that this is brilliant because it's super simple. There's not a lot of crazy legal language. There's not any ambiguity. It's an either or. We're not taking anything away from the operator or the consumer. We're giving them the option to run their business. And as Todd said, it saves money on both ends. So first, just real quick to dispel a myth of certain fictional shows, it's not a moneymaker for us. Maybe 20 cents on the dollar. It costs, I had our ops team run some numbers, costs about $80, sometimes $100 to run an ad to sell one unit. And again, it's a very high-risk activity. It is a remedy of last resort, I like to call it. Reputationally, it's bad. We don't sell stuff, we provide storage solutions, which means to individuals, to businesses, to the community at large. We are an essential service. We want to stay that way. We don't want to sell stuff. And what Todd didn't mention, but I just like to say, is that we give the tenants, we like to call them customers, every opportunity to come in and pay the bill above and beyond what's required in the statute, which is pretty comprehensive. There's 2 direct notices that need to be sent to the tenant, including to the alternate that the tenant provides in a rental agreement. One of those notices has to include an opposition to lien, meaning we're going to give the tenant the ability, afford them the ability to oppose for any reason they want to, and we'll stop the sale. And we'll deal with them individually. It's very unique in that sense. So there's lots of bells and whistles protections already embedded in the statute. And like I said initially, I'm just going back to it, is that this doesn't take away anything from anyone. It just adds an option, a very business-friendly, common-sense option to allow us to advertise on a website available to the public for free. And that could be anything from like a storage treasures. There's lots of different websites that offer this to us now. Even the self-storage operator, in some states where we do allow this, we advertise on our own website. So everybody's aware of where it's advertised up front in the rental agreement, posted in the business office of the facility. So again, the point is, we're not in the business of selling self-storage. We have, the statute provides so many opportunities for direct points of contact with the tenant. So the point of the advertisement is to get as many bidders in to save everybody money. So we want to make sure that we go to a website that allows that. And again, the point is saving the business and the consumer money. We're already moving towards, and Todd can testify, can sponsor this, well, can attest to this, maybe is the better word. We used to have people come to each of the properties and do auctions. Now the actual auction occurs online. Whether you're advertising in a newspaper, the auction itself is occurring online. So that's kind of part of the modernization of the self-storage lien laws and the operational practices. It's evolved over from notices via email to auctions online, and now we're just asking for the AB 137 to kind of bring that home to the Nevada statute and allow the operators that other option. Again, we operate facilities in lots of different states, over 30 states, and this is the trend. This is what we're moving towards. And I know that Nevada has a very business-friendly environment as opposed to some of the states where we operate. So I'm very excited to sponsor this and hope that you guys consider it and support this bill, and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Chair Miller. David Goldwater again, just in summary. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and you have my gratitude. I'd like to offer to our sponsors, and you also have on your now list a proposed amendment to add Assemblywoman Hanson as bill sponsor. And again, happy St. Patrick's Day, and say hello to my Hoogie and my son Alexander who are watching.
Thank you so much for that presentation. And members, I was just told that Wi-Fi went back up, so we may be able to find those amendments and such on Nellis. With that, we will go ahead and open it up for questions. Assemblymember Dahlia, do you have a question?
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for the presentation. I just had a clarifying question about the removal of the general description. Was that about alleviating administrative burdens on the self-storage facilities? Thank you.
Yes, that was. Generally, when you advertise, Kim Siclari, sorry. Kim Siclari, Siclari. Generally, when you advertise on a website that's publicly available, there's photos, so there would be no need for that. Thank you.
Assemblymember LaRue Hatch.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for answering our questions. So I guess I do want to follow up on that one. I had a different question, but you just triggered something. So if there are photos, but there's no requirement in here, are we allowing people to just not describe it or have any photos at all if we just strike that section from the statute?
Thank you, Madam Chair. David Goldwater, representing Self-Storage Association. Through you to Assemblywoman LaRue Hatch.
Please go direct.
Yes, ma'am. Our intent is to keep every possible consumer protection that's there. If there's a way to craft an amendment that satisfies description, or if we can answer that question any more clearly, certainly we'll do that.
Thank you. Our next question is from Assemblymember Moore.
Thank you, Chair. I know this bill would allow you guys to do online, to advertise in an online newspaper. Would this also allow you to be able to advertise on social media?
Chair, Assemblymember Moore, David Goldwater, yes, it would give you the option to advertise in a place that met the definition online. Yes, yeah, could advertise it on social media.
Yeah, the Todd Weir. Yes, as it's been explained to me, social media in the in terms of Facebook Marketplace, could be Craigslist, could be storagetreasures.com, it could be even our own website. Due to the fact that all these places reach an international crowd, which is the way over the minimum of what it's supposed to reach in a printed publication. So,
David Goldwater, just to further put a fine point on that, the definition here is internet website publicly accessible and conjunctive, and which customarily advertises or conducts sales of property. So, some social, if they met that definition, it would be acceptable. Or remain in the newspaper, still an option.
Thank you. Assemblymember Gonzalez?
Thank you so much, and good morning.
Good morning.
I was wondering why you replaced judicial district with county.
The reason, do you know?
I asked the same thing of our lawyers. It's mainly just a judicial district doesn't mean a lot to a lot of people anymore. So the county just was more clear, and that's actually the judicial district usually ends up in the county. So that, just to make it clear, I think was the main reason. So.
Kim Seclary, just to provide some clarification from a practical perspective, judicial districts are different than counties, and sometimes I know in trying to advertise in a judicial district is different than a county, and sometimes that's not where the self-storage facility is. And so kind of the geography of the state, it makes it very difficult. So it's just kind of catching up the language. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Not seeing any additional questions, I will go ahead and open it up for testimony. We will start with testimony in support here in Carson City for Assembly Bill 137. Again, asking anyone testifying to please state and spell their name for the record, and please keep your comments to 2 minutes. So if there's anyone here in Carson City that would like to testify in support.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is Tom Clark. I'm here on behalf of U-Haul this morning in total support of
Mr. Clark, would you spell your name, please?
Tomclark. I apologize, Madam Chair. On behalf of U-Haul, and we're very much in support of this piece of legislation as presented by the sponsor and the proponents of the bill. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Not seeing anyone else in Carson City, and I do not believe, is there anyone in Las Vegas? Not seeing anyone. Broadcasting, will you please open the lines?
If you would like to testify in support of Assembly Bill 137, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Again, if you would like to testify in support of Assembly Bill 137, please press star 9 now. Chair, there are no callers choosing to testify in support at this time.
Okay, thank you so much. Then I will open it up for opposition testimony, beginning here in Carson City.
Good morning and happy Monday. Thank you, members of the committee, for hearing this bill. My name is Thomas Morley, Thomas-Morley. I represent the Review Journal as well as several unions throughout the state. Our first concern would be that what if everybody doesn't have access to internet? You've got economically challenged, folks out there, you've got homeless people out there who don't have the luxury of a cell phone or having access to the internet. Secondly, wearing the union hat, we're referred to as journeymen. We follow the work. We travel from city to city, to state, when the economic climate is not right from your home local, whether it be LA, Las Vegas, Reno, and we chase that work. A lot of the time, what we do is we move. We put all our stuff in storage. We rent an apartment with several other journeymen that are working on the project. We work a lot of hours, and I can see how this might get lost in the fold. But ultimately, my concern would be the economically challenged not having access to internet, especially in rural places. We have BEAD money from the Biden administration to spread broadband to sovereign nations for the Native Americans, as well as the rural counties and rural cities and towns. However, those projects have not yet started, and they have very limited access to internet. And with that, we stand in opposition. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good morning, Scott Sibley, representing Nevada Legal News, also a member of the Nevada State Press Association. The internet,
Sibley, could you spell your name for the record?
it's Sibley. He brings up the internet, which is an interesting one to bring up, as we see that even in this building, we don't have internet that works regularly. So the areas in the rural areas could imagine. That's not what I want to talk about with this bill. I came in opposition of this bill because it reduces the chances that someone losing their personal property can save it. As many of the people on this committee, since in Judiciary this time, understand property rights and due process, understands that people should get as much notice as possible. I'm a strong believer is more is better. Years ago, I donated money to start a statewide website that's run by the Press Association so that every notice that's published in a Nevada newspaper is also posted on this website, and it's a searchable site, and it's free of charge. There's no additional cost to do it. So whether someone's losing their house, their car, most valuable things, which is family heirlooms that can be in a storage unit, we can't do enough notifications. A lot of times these are people that have lost their jobs, divorces, deaths, and they put their stuff in there as a last resort, and it's placed in there, and then they forget about it. They talk about costs, and you have to look at this chart and be careful when you look at it, because the cost in there, there's other things lumped into that cost. As for Nevada Legal News, our company, we charge $2 a line, $1 a line per day. So a 2-day ad is $2 a line. The basic language to set up where the sale is, the time of the sale, and so forth, is probably about $30. And then the incremental cost per unit is $2. A lot of these ads in our publication start at $45 and rarely go into the hundreds. It's a very, very small price to pay to have additional notice out there. The other important thing about having the printed copy in the newspaper is I could tell you, a story from a long time ago, or I could tell you a current story. I'm the old guy now, so I've got stories. Years back, Clark County, the airport, was selling some land, and they published the notice about the
Mr.
auction.
Sibley,
Yeah?
your time is up.
Already?
Yep. And I started it after I asked you to spell your
Okay.
name. So you can submit the rest of your comments in writing or reach out to members individually.
No problem.
All right, thank
Just
you.
remember, don't let the hen watch the fox house.
Thank
Or the
you so
fox watch
much.
the hen house, however it goes.
Is there anyone else here in Carson City in opposition? Not seeing anyone in Las Vegas broadcasting, will you open the lines, please?
If you would like to testify in opposition to Assembly Bill 137, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Caller with the last 3 digits, 963, please press star 6 to unmute your phone. You may begin.
Morning, Chair Miller, Vice Chair Marzola, and members of the committee. My name is Bob Conrad, that's BOBCONRAD, and I am speaking on behalf of the Nevada Press Association and the Nevada Open Government Coalition. Both organizations are opposed to AB 137. Under existing law, Public storage facilities have the right to seize their renter's property and sell it for a fraction of its worth when bills are not properly paid. No court or officer of the law is required. Renters give away this right when they sign storage contracts. Lawmakers years ago ordered personal notices to renters and public notices published in a newspaper to provide checks and balances against the industry. The notices improve the chances that when a personal notice has failed or the facility has grievously erred, an auction will be noticed by the public and any wrongs can be averted. The public notice serves several purposes. It provides oversight in lieu of a judge who is not a part of the process to keep seizures and auctions from happening in secrecy. It also allows the public an opportunity to bid for the property. And it notifies the friends and neighbors when a renter cannot be found, increasing the chance that someone will reach the owner of the property before it's too late. In short, these notices benefit storage businesses, consumers, and the community. Passing this bill would reverse a half-century of transparency and consumer-oriented due process. Eliminating transparency would add more weight that puts consumers at greater risk. For these reasons, we are opposed to the bill. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Chair, there are no other callers choosing to testify in opposition at this time.
Thank you. Then I will open it up for testimony in neutral. Anyone here in Carson that would like to testify in neutral? Not seeing anyone. Broadcasting, will you please open the line?
If you would like to testify in neutral for Assembly Bill 137, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, there are no callers wishing to testify in neutral at this time.
Thank you so much. Then I will go ahead and welcome the bill sponsor back up for any brief comments.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, thank you, David Goldwater here. I heard the important comments of the handsome Mr. Sibley, who is a good friend and an honest dealer. None of the consumer protections in this statute are being touched or altered in any way. We also don't want to conflate the notice that there is an unpaid roomer or an unpaid storage unit with the attempt by a landlord to sort of collect or by the facility to collect these rents. The storage facilities would much rather collect the rent, and they try desperately to do so. This is a last resort to sell it at auction, and those are the notices we're talking about, not the notices to pay rent. Thank you again, and I'll be happy to work with anyone to improve this bill if it can.
Assemblymember Torres Fawcett for the record. I think that what appears to me to be obvious in the state of Nevada today is that more people have access to internet than they have access to the newspaper. More people have access to internet on their phones, on a personal cell phone, the library, at a school site, at their friend's computer, at their friend's cell phone, than they do a newspaper these days, especially as most newspapers, even the applications, require you to pay a fee in order to have access to that information. This is a common sense way to ensure that people have access to the information after there have already been numerous attempts to contact those consumers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and I will go ahead and close the hearing on Assembly Bill 137. Next, we have a public comment. So if there's anyone here in Carson City wishing to make public comment, please approach. Not seeing anyone. Not seeing anyone in Las Vegas. Broadcasting, will you open the lines, please?
If you would like to provide public comment, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Again, if you would like to provide public comment, please press star 9 now. Follow with the last 3 digits, 424. Please press star 6 to unmute your phone. You may begin.
Chair Miller, Vice Chair Marzola, and the members of the committee, I'm so sorry. I am meaning to testify in in favor of the bill. I'm so sorry. My name is Diana Granados, Granados, and I live in Fernley, Nevada.
Okay, I will accept the support testimony. Continue.
Thank you so much. I'm a district manager for Crescendo Self-Storage Management, which operates 13 facilities in Nevada in various areas, including Reno Sparks in Washoe County, Fallon in Churchill County, Las Vegas, Mesquite, and Boulder City in Clark County. I ask for your support today for Assembly Bill 137, a bill meant to modernize the advertising requirement for storage operators in Nevada. In addition to the facilities we operate in Nevada, we also operate several in nearby Washington state. And unlike Nevada, there is no legal requirement for storage operators to advertise in the newspaper in Washington state. In fact, the law does not require any form of advertising preceding a sale at all. Having operating several facilities in Washington state, I have not seen any storage occupant negatively impacted by the lack of requirement to advertise in a newspaper. Like in Nevada, Washington state, in Washington state, we are still required to provide information to our written rental agreement, and send direct notes to the occupant. Direct notice, which has been or would remain a requirement here in Nevada, is how you would reach an occupant and resolve the payment dispute, not in the newspaper. A continued legal mandate to advertise the sale in the newspaper of general circulation is ineffective at reaching the intended audience of potentially interested bidders, inconsistent with the advertising requirements of most states nationally, and a significant financial imposition on most storage owners and storage occupants. To date, 32 states in the District of Columbia have adopted an advertising method like what is contained in Assembly Bill 137, or do not have any advertising requirement at all, like Washington state. Overall, Assembly Bill 137 is a common sense amendment to update the law to reflect current realities, and I respectfully request that the members of this committee vote to support the bill. Thank you again, Chair Miller, Vice Chair Marzola, and the members of the committee for permitting me to testify very late remote today. I am open for any questions.
Thank you so much for your testimony. And again, I am being flexible because I do know we've had power outages, Wi-Fi outages, delayed starts, delayed flights, and all kinds of stuff this morning. So with that, I'm accepting the testimony, but we will return back to public comment. So next caller.
If you would like to provide public comment, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, there are no callers choosing to provide public comment at this time.
Okay, thank you. Then I will go ahead and close public comment. That is it on our agenda for today. So with that, I will adjourn and see you all back at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning.